Hello and welcome to one of the great pearls of the British seaside. It's Brighton, and could we have picked a better day for day one of what's going to be a really exciting competition to find Britain's strongest man. And as you can tell, there's a distinct sort of Edwardian flavour about Brighton, and you'll probably see a lot of that during the competition. We're going back to the days when the strongman was really a part of everyday life, and we're going to recreate some of those amazing feats before your very eyes. Now, let me tell you, we have 8 competitors, and those 8 competitors will take part in each and every one of the 8 events you're going to see on this programme. So let us now say hello to the competitors.
And first off, Errol Carnegie, who came to London in 1959, judo very much his speciality, and he weighs in on the old scales at 299.4. Hamish Davidson, from Nairn in Scotland, 27 years old, is a Highland Games champion, who is also a mink farmer, would you believe. On to Andy Drewiecki, who has been the British heavyweight weightlifting champion for the past 5 years, and he's got a few good Commonwealth titles under his belt as well. Selby Prince, the youngest by far at 20. Other things is trying to get a strength comedy act together in his spare time. John Sedge now, who did most of his sports in the Royal Marines from 65 onwards for 12 years, now specialises in hammer throwing. University in California, also was Britain's strongest man in 1980. Alan Taylor now, who is 30 years old, amongst other things, has been wrestling for the last 5 years and now wrestles under the name of the Giant Anaconda. And Peter Welsh, who was born in London, lives in
Hello and welcome to one of the great pearls of the British seaside. It's Brighton, and could we have picked a better day for day one of what's going to be a really exciting competition to find Britain's strongest man. And as you can tell, there's a distinct sort of Edwardian flavour about Brighton, and you'll probably see a lot of that during the competition. We're going back to the days when the strongman was really a part of everyday life, and we're going to recreate some of those amazing feats before your very eyes. Now, let me tell you, we have 8 competitors, and those 8 competitors will take part in each and every one of the 8 events you're going to see on this programme. So let us now say hello to the competitors.
And first off, Errol Carnegie, who came to London in 1959, judo very much his speciality, and he weighs in on the old scales at 299.4. Hamish Davidson, from Nairn in Scotland, 27 years old, is a Highland Games champion, who is also a mink farmer, would you believe. On to Andy Drewiecki, who has been the British heavyweight weightlifting champion for the past 5 years, and he's got a few good Commonwealth titles under his belt as well. Selby Prince, the youngest by far at 20. Other things is trying to get a strength comedy act together in his spare time. John Sedge now, who did most of his sports in the Royal Marines from 65 onwards for 12 years, now specialises in hammer throwing. University in California, also was Britain's strongest man in 1980. Alan Taylor now, who is 30 years old, amongst other things, has been wrestling for the last 5 years and now wrestles under the name of the Giant Anaconda. And Peter Welsh, who was born in London, lives in fact, and one of his great things is he wants to break into singing, operatic singing.
Mr. Le Gaulle, who lives in a small village in France, claims to be the strongest man in the world. He can hitch his teeth to 4 railway trucks and haul them along the track.
Well, here at the seaside, we're about to emulate Mr. Le Gaulle, not quite with 4 trucks, but we have the first of 8 events, which is our traction engine pull, close on to 4 tons of heavy metal. And in front of that, not far off, 4 tons of heavy flesh. Alan Taylor attempting to get things going, and as I'm seated in my commentary position with my co-commentator, Jeff Capes, we're ready for some exciting action in this competition. Well, that's certainly rolling on okay, and that's the important thing, to get it rolling and keep it rolling.
Alan being very tall, in fact the heaviest man today in the competition, finding it pretty easy. But unfortunately using a very, very high pull here and not pulling a direct line to the machine.
And of course, that could prove a bit of a problem for Alan, being up as high as he is, because obviously to lean down as much as you can towards the floor is going to give you a bit better leverage. But having said that, he seems to be doing extremely well. Offline a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I bet that line looks a million miles away to him. There he goes, straight down on top of it, and he gets himself a 51.4. And still manages to raise a smile as well. How is that it? Well, now Alan getting a little bit of expertise from John Sedge, saying fill up your lungs, as we move to Hamish Davidson now. Off the blocks. He's not going to be settling for a 51.4 if I know the way he wants to compete. He's got to keep moving.
Hamish using small steps, head low, going for that line. Hamish, in fact, a very underestimated Highland Games athlete, very coordinated and going all the way to that line.
Actually, it's amazing because Hamish looks like he could be just out on a Sunday afternoon walking the dog. I mean, it's incredible. Look, short, sharp steps. There's no question he's going to beat that 51.4. And as he gets to the line, doesn't even drop his arms down. He goes into the lead with a very comfortable 40.5. We saw lots of short, sharp jabs with the feet. Is that the secret of pulling it?
I think so, yeah. I can still feel the weight all the way, you know. The pressure is on the legs all the time. I really feel it now.
Do you feel confident now at this stage in the game that with 11 seconds leads on Alan that you might have this in the bag?
I don't think that's unbeatable. It might be difficult to beat.
Well, I can tell you it wasn't all a bed of roses. Look at this.
John having a lot of problems here on this occasion. He's not finding traction there with his shoes on the concrete at all.
Yeah, John Sedge coming to a dead halt at that point. Andy Drevietsky as well had a few problems.
The shoes just looking in grip. Oh, they're useless. I told you, Derek, this morning at breakfast time.
Well, yeah, the body weight
mate. Hey, throwing the buttons off these things, put me any grip. I've got everything going.
Well, Andy Drevietsky there complaining about lack of grip, and indeed, that's what happened to Solby Prince here at this point.
Solby Prince having all sorts of problems here. His body is, in fact, far too low to the pull on the engine, and his shoes are not gripping at all. He's not directing his force in one line, and it's going all over the place.
Well, now you're going to see something a bit different. The engine motoring along at a fair lick. Well, why is it going that fast? Who's pushing it? Nobody is. My co-commentator, Jeff Capes, is showing how it should be done. A full load on there, nearly 4 tons, and he's been itching to get involved in this, and there he is having a go. Oh, look at that. That's how you do it, lads. John Sedge now with a lightened load, slightly lighter than before.
And we have John Sedge, having learnt from his first mistake of keeping too low, in fact he's pulling in a direct line now, really powering home on this occasion, full traction on the surface, no problems at all.
So, as John goes, slaps hard into the concrete there, 56.7 then for John Sedge. I think he's slightly more pleased with that second try than he was before. Oh yes, definitely more pleased. Nice little look at Brighton Pier on a lovely day here for these splendid games as we get back to the starting line for Errol Carnegie's second run. Here we go. The engine, of course, now has been lightened a little bit because it was found to be difficult for most of the lads. So a good amount of water has been taken out. Errol Carnegie slightly all over the place at the moment, losing valuable traction there. But nevertheless, he is keeping it moving. That's the most important thing. Harness, taut, now he's got it in a line. He's getting himself a pace together, which is great. That's good. Those front wheels still wobbling a bit.
Errol Carnegie having a real problem here, making a desperate attempt to keep the machine in a straight line, and in fact having a lot of problems. But I'm sure Errol is as gutsy as anybody else and will finish.
Yeah, absolutely. 56.7 is what we're looking to beat, yes. And an arm goes over. Ooh, the lads have got to be down there a bit sharpish to stop the machine rolling. 51.2 then for Errol Carnegie on his second attempt. Drewiecki actually didn't have too much joy in his second attempt, as you can tell from his face there. He didn't manage to move it at all. And Richard Slaney now, he's got to go out to try and beat the lot of them now to get himself into third position. And it's the 51.2 of Carnegie that Richard is looking to. At the moment he's looking at the tarmac, but he's got a good pace going there. And I think he's got every chance of getting it. Yes, well, what can I tell you? A gentle lean across the line, and Slaney finishes at 42, putting himself into third position.
Here we go with a look at the scoreboard for the first time. Bearing in mind, of course, that our first two contestants did manage to pull their weights, the original weights, before the load was lightened. They are Hamish Davidson at the top of the table at the moment with 8, and Alan Taylor with 7.
He's been getting his teeth into things for years. He can take on a motorbike for breakfast. With the bike revving and his gnashers gnashing, the only thing to give is the rope. Batty Sugru, licensee of the Admiral Nelson in Kilburn, now takes on a barrel of beer weighing 2 1/4 hundredweight. Batty's offering £500 to any publican in Europe over 40 who can equal his strength. Before he took over the pub, he was a circus strongman and a professional wrestler. So while he waits for someone to take up his £500 challenge, Batty takes it out on the customers.
Charming fella. Okay, we've got more than one barrel, quite a few. We've got man against man, adding a little more spice to a competition in which all 8 take part.
Right, in the yellow lane we have Andy Drewiecki. And in the red lane... we have Peter Welsh.
On your marks and get set.
Well, here we go. The barrel lift now. Just a reminder that although they look like little bits of stones they're throwing up there, we're talking about approximately 150 pounds per barrel. That's the weight. 11 gallons of liquid in there. Beer, as a matter of interest, which I'm sure the lads at some point would like to open up and have a drink of. So, the first two in our competition. How are they doing so far, Jeff?
They're doing very well, actually. Andy's going great guns, and the problem of lack of oxygen doesn't seem to have affected them yet. But there you go. This Peter's having a little bit of a difficulty here now.
Yeah.
But they're going very well.
Now we've got the one barrel on there. We have a winner. In the yellow lane, Andy Drewiecki gets in just ahead. Peter Welsh looks slightly the worse for wear there, but nevertheless a very speedy time for him as well.
I see you've gone a whiter shade of pale.
12 barrels of 150 pounds each. A lot of effort. Speed involved too. Movement. Bit of suppleness too, I guess. But I managed.
Right, now we come to the second of our pairs now. John Sedge, who's in the yellow lane, as you can see there, and Solby Prince over in the red lane. They're on. Oh my goodness, they are shifting these things. It's incredible. Remember, 150 pounds of weight in there. They seem to be putting a heck of a lot into a short space of time here, don't they, Jeff?
Yeah, Solby Prince, in fact, is literally throwing it on with no effort at all, and the other chap is having a slight difficulty, but they've both gone very well. I think it's tremendous.
Well, just 2 more for Solby Prince. I can't quite see the other ones. Yes, there's a few more than 2. John Sedge seems to be slowing up a little bit here. And the time's to beat 43.4. Well, a strained effort there. John Sedge still got his last barrel to go now. And probably, if you've got your colour television set up right, you'll probably see what Jeff was referring to about the colour going out of people's faces.
In the yellow lane, Richard Slaney. And in the red lane, Errol Carnegie.
On your marks and get set.
So, 43.4 is what the lads are looking for. And it's quite incredible. Richard Slaney is again just throwing them on as if they were some sort of wreck. Mind you, Errol's not doing too bad.
Yeah, I think Richard's in the wrong trade. He ought to be a drayman. He's just literally just throwing them on there. We had a quick talk earlier on, and he said what he was going to do, and he's doing it.
So, Errol Carnegie in the red barrel lane there. He's doing quite well. But visibly, when they get down to the last 4 or 5 barrels, it's definitely a lot more weight for them to deal with. Looks like Richard is going to win here. Look at the time. The time to beat. Oh, he's done it. The time to beat was 43.4. We have a new leader. Slaney gets on, on the truck himself, yeah. So Carnegie's last barrel coming up now. A little bit of a struggle. And a 55.5 for Errol Carnegie. So we have a new leader. Now we come to the two, arguably, the men that you must watch tightly now. Alan Taylor, you are second overall in the competition. Have you got any method that you've had in the back of your mind that you'd like to use on these barrels, having seen 6 guys go before you?
Well, they're all completely different ways, so I should imagine it's going to be brute strength and ignorance.
Really? I'll lend the ignorance, you can have the strength. Okay. We come over to our current leader, Hamish Davidson. How are you feeling at this point?
Cramping up in the thighs at the moment.
You've got a problem with your thighs?
Yeah, since the morning. That pool.
I see. So you're going to have to really exercise.
I'm a bit worried about it.
You're a little bit worried about those. Well, we'll see how they go out during the course of this particular event. Well, this is the one now. 42.3. Oh, 42.3 is the time to beat. Hamish has already complained, Jeffrey, about having a bit of a problem with his thighs, a bit of cramp.
I think that's made him angry, actually, because he knows that he mustn't think about his injury, and he must go hell for leather and just forget it, and just go straight into the competition.
Yeah. So in other words, like most other things in any sport of strength or skill, the more aggravated you become, the more you like to pull out a good time.
That is very much so, and I think Hamish is on the way to a very good time at the moment.
Well, 33 seconds at this point, and Hamish has got 4 more barrels to go if he can keep that up.